And so we're going to start on our backs. And as you come onto your backs, just make sure that you have your block and your strap available so you don't even have to sit up at all to grab them. So, and just start in like a Shavasana on your back. So extend your arms at your sides, palms up. Legs are long out in front. And just try to really let your body rest heavily on the mat. And notice your breathing here. See if you can start to deepen and lengthen your breath. You can even put one hand on your belly, maybe even another hand on your chest. Not only, deepen your breath here, but feel yourself deepen your breath. Notice how the belly rises and falls as you continue to breathe deeply. And whatever breathing you're able to establish here, see if you can maintain that and keep it up for the entire class. Because even though we're not going to be at our feet, we're not going to be moving and flowing a whole lot, it doesn't mean that deep breath isn't still important. So try to still keep it at the forefront of your practice, even if it isn't as apparent as it may be in a normal power flow practice. And so slowly here, we're going to move into a child's pose on our back. So bend both of your knees. Bring your knees above your hips, knees about as wide or a little wider than your torso. Taking both hands and placing them at the tops of the shins. And then use the weight of your arms to help open up your hips. So what I like about child's pose on the back is that it's just a little bit gentler. It allows you to get into the pose a little bit easier, because sometimes those poses where we're using our body weight and using gravity to deepen the pose, sometimes that can be a little bit intense, especially at the beginning of the practice. So this is kind of a nice middle ground for child's pose, where you're allowed a little more customization as to how deep you go. Staying with it for another moment or so. And slowly release the shins and let your feet come to the mat right behind your seat. Reach over and grab a hold of your block. And put the block underneath the small of your back. So it's nice and solid underneath there. We're going to get into the hip flexors right away. So with your left foot still on the mat, extend your right leg out in front of you, resting the right heel upon the ground. And you'll notice as you do this, there's just a slight tug, a slight stretching sensation deep within the right leg, right at the top, and maybe even venturing into the abdomen a little bit. So that's your hip flexor group of muscles. And if you want to deepen the stretch and also have it migrate a little bit more into the psoas region, up into the abdomen, you can extend your arms out behind you to the back of the room. You can notice how that changes the stretch just ever so slightly. Also, if you want a little more sensation, you can slide your right heel from side to side upon your mat. And you'll notice that helps migrate the stretch a little bit with the movement. And now slowly bend the right knee, set the right foot on the ground right behind your seat, and switch sides. So extend the left leg out in front of you, resting the left heel upon the mat. And just notice the stretch. And maybe even noticing how it differs from the right side. Most of us have a pretty substantial asymmetry with our flexibility. And for me, it's no different in the hip flexors. My right one is tighter than the left. And again, you can slide the heel from side to side. You can extend both arms to the back of the space. But all we're trying to do is get a little sensation and create a little bit of an awakening in this muscle group that becomes very tight when we're seated for long durations. So now with our breath, I'd like to just flow a little bit between those to create a little mobility. So on your inhale, step your left foot back in so both feet are behind the seat. And on your exhale, extend the right leg out in front, heel on the mat. Inhale, bend the right knee, set the foot down. Exhale, extend the left leg, heel is on the mat. We'll do that a few more times. Inhale, bring the left leg in. Exhale, extend the right leg out. Inhale, step the right foot in. Exhale, extend the left leg. We'll do one more time through. Inhale, step in the left foot. Exhale, extend the right leg. Inhale, step the right foot in. Exhale, extend the left leg out. Inhale, step the left foot in. And let's slowly remove the block from underneath our seat. Now we'll be getting into the low back just a little bit with a supine twist. But I'd like to start it from our left side. So roll onto your left side. Extend your left arm as far to the left side of the room as you can. Stack the right arm directly on top of it. And we're doing the same thing with our lower body. So legs are stacked on top of each other. Knees are bent 90 degrees or so. And when you're ready, on your inhale, open up. So take your right arm and try to draw it all the way to the other side, landing the right shoulder blade upon the mat. And you'll notice by doing so, it may cause your knees to lift off the mat slightly, and that's perfectly fine. What we're trying to do is create a little bit of movement, a little bit of mobility in the mid-back or the thoracic spinal region. Just give it a moment here, statically holding this twist. And then again, we're going to set up a little mobility, a little bit of movement. So with our breath, let's flow in this pose as well. On your exhale, bring your right arm all the way back over, stack it upon the left. On your inhale, open it up, bring the right arm all the way back over. Exhale, stack the right arm on top of the left. Inhale, big opening all the way to the other side. Last one. Exhale, close it down, stack the hands. Inhale, open it up, bring the right shoulder blade all the way over. And on the exhale, bring it back. And let's roll onto our right side as we switch sides. So we'll be setting up the same thing on the other side. Onto your right side. Right arm extends to the right side of the room. Stack the left arm on top. Knees are bent and left leg is stacked on the right. With an inhale, open things up. Bring your left shoulder blade all the way over. And we'll hold this for a few rounds of breath. For me, when I do this pose, I always get a little bit of a thoracic spinal adjustment. I can feel the vertebrae moving a little bit. And for me, that's just what I need. Now from here, we'll get into a little bit of mobility, a little bit of movement. On your exhale, bring the left arm all the way over, stack it upon the right. Big inhale, open things up, bring the left arm all the way over. Exhale, close it down, stack the palms. Inhale, open it up, set the left shoulder blade on the mat. One more time, exhale, bring the left palm, stack it up. Inhale, big opening, rotating the spine, that's it. Exhale, close it down. Then we'll move back onto our back. And we'll reach over and grab our strap or our strap substitute. And for me, this is one of my favorite and most important series of stretches with this strap. I feel this really gets into a lot of key muscle groups that affect our low back health. So take the strap and put it on the ball of your right foot. Once in position, you can keep the left foot on the ground with the knee bent, or you can extend the left leg out in front, heel on the mat for a little deeper stretch. But we're going to work into the hamstring first. So the strap around the right foot, see if you can draw the right leg towards you, almost like you're attempting to draw your toes on your right foot down towards your face. And start out subtle. But even though it's early in the practice, I do want to get in a little bit deeper into the hamstring and really lengthen out that group of muscles if we can. You can almost use your arms here like weights, slowly increasing the intensity of the stretch. Give it another breath or two if you can. And we'll keep the strap on the right foot, but we'll gather both ends in the right hand, and we're going to slowly open up the hip. So with the strap in the right hand, start to drop the right leg off to the right side. You can use your left arm as a counterweight by extending it to the left side of the space, palm on the mat. And then use your right arm as a guide to help bring your right leg to the position where you feel best in the pose. And try to keep your hips and your torso square to the ceiling. Try not to roll too far onto your right side. That'll help localize and accentuate the stretch where we need it and want it most. Now slowly bring the leg back to the center. Keep the strap on the right foot, but switch it to your left hand, getting into the IT band here for a moment. So bring the right leg across your body towards the left, again guiding it with your left hand. And again, it's about keeping hips and torso relatively square to the ceiling. That'll allow you to really access all that connective tissue that runs along the outer part of your right leg. That area that can be difficult to stretch. This movement provides a pretty good place to go with it. And now, just like some of the other movements we've gone through, I'd like to flow between the hip opening pose and this IT band stretch. So with your breath, let's begin to move. On your exhale, bring the right leg all the way over, open up the hip. Inhale, leg comes across the body, find your IT band stretch. 2 more cycles. Exhale, open up the leg, let it go all the way to the right. Inhale, bring it across the body, stretch the IT band. Last one. Exhale, open up the hip one more time. Inhale, leg comes across the body, last IT band stretch. Leg comes back to the center. Take the strap off of your right foot, set the right foot on the mat. We'll switch it over to the left. Strap goes around the ball of your left foot. Gather the strap in each hand, extend the left leg towards the ceiling, and either the right foot can remain grounded with the knee bent, or for a little bit extra depth, right leg extends in front, heel is on the mat. And again, slowly making your way into this hamstring stretch. First time we're getting into the hamstrings today. So I always recommend starting out gradual and slow. As you become acclimated to the pose, maybe we find a little bit more depth here. Once you've stretched the hamstring group out enough, we'll release the hamstring stretch. Take the strap in your left hand, and we'll begin to open up the hip. Start to guide your left leg open, dropping the leg to the left side of your space. And you'll know when you find the right spot. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to modify. Sometimes those are the best ways to find our true place within a pose. Just hang out here for another moment or two. Now bring the strap back to the center, switch it to your right hand, and come into that IT band stretch. And you may not have to guide your leg across your body too far to really feel it. And that's okay. I know I don't have to bring my leg across too far for me to really feel the pose. Now again, for mobility, with our breath, let's cycle between the hip opener and the IT band stretch. So on your inhale, open up the leg, draw the left leg to the left side of the space. As you exhale, bring the leg across your body, IT band stretch 2 more times. Exhale, open up the hip, drop the leg to the left. Inhale, closing it down, draw the leg across your body, last one. Inhale, open up the hip, drop the left leg open. Exhale, bring the leg back across your body. And slowly the leg comes back to the center. Take the strap off of the foot, set it aside. And now draw both knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. And just give a slow rock from side to side. Taking a moment to massage the spine, just a little bit of movement. And we'll begin to rock from front to back here. Start to rock and roll, building momentum, eventually rocking all the way up to a seated position where you'll cross your feet, plant your palms, and step back into a tabletop pose. Moving into some cow and cat poses. We're going to come into cow first, and I'd like to hold it for 2 or 3 breaths. So on your inhale, bring your gaze up, your chest up, sitting bones up, belly hangs low like a hammock. But give this pose a moment or two. You can even start to shift your hips from side to side, bringing a little movement. Most of all, let that belly drop. Now on your next exhale, move to a cat pose. So round the back to the ceiling, pull your navel towards your spine, looking down at your knees. And again, we'll hold this for 2 or 3 breaths. And you can move in this one as well if you wish. When I'm in cat pose, sometimes I like to extend my tailbone towards the back of the room and just feel a little bit of vertebrae lengthening going on. And now with our breath, begin to flow on your inhale. Return to cow. Exhale, cats. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. Last time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. Returning to your tabletop pose, neutral spine. And we'll be meeting in a downward facing dog. So plant your palms, tuck your toes, and reach your hips back. And as you come into this first down dog, a little movement here can feel nice as well. Sometimes it's nice to come on to the tiptoes and then slowly drop the heels towards the ground. Pedaling the heels can feel nice. It can be a nice way to loosen up the calves a little bit too. But eventually we'll move towards stillness within the pose. Really plugging into the palms if you can, while at the same time extending the thigh bones to the back of the space. Letting your head and neck relax and be loose. And again, just check in with your breath for a moment, making sure you're still breathing steadily and deeply. And from downward dog, on your inhale, lift your right leg up. As you exhale, step between your hands. We're going to take a runner's lunge. So drop your left knee to the ground. Bring both hands inside of your right foot. And if you can, move your right foot forward and outside upon your mat. And again, we're getting into the left hip flexor group of muscles here. Perhaps getting in a little bit deeper than that first stretch. And you can either maintain the posture on your palms or you can release to your forearms. And that sometimes will bring you into a deeper place in the pose. Just give it a moment here. Now, if you did release onto your forearms, start to rise up to your palms. Once there, slide the right foot to the center of your mat, hands either side the right foot. Gentle half splits next. Keep your left knee upon the ground, but start to reach your hips to the back of the space. Straightening into the right leg to your degree. And you can either stay tall with the torso, or you can fold deeper over the right leg. And finally, if you're looking to create even more sensation, you can rotate the entire right leg within your hip socket, which will bring another element to the pose as well. Now, if you were rotating the leg, you can cease that rotation. And with our breath, let's move between those two poses. So on your inhale, bring it forward back to your runner's lunge. Exhale, reach your hips back, half splits. 2 more cycles. Inhale, forward runner's lunge. Exhale, reaching the hips back, half splits. Last one. Inhale, forward runner's lunge. Exhale, reaching back, half splits. Inhale, forward, final time. Plant your palms, tuck your left toes, and then send your right leg back, 3-legged downward dog. Once you get there, begin to open up your right hip. Drop the right heel towards your left shoulder blade. Just give it a moment here. Maybe some movement. Maybe circling the ankle or the hip. On your inhale, send the right leg straight up. On the exhale, set it down, downward facing dog. Switching over to the other side. Next inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step between the hands, runner's lunge. Hands inside the left foot. Move the left foot forward and outside to your degree. Either remain tall or release onto your forearms. And for me, what I recommend in runner's lunge, if this pose doesn't do anything for you, if you're not feeling anything, use your palms or your fists to help draw your hips forward while keeping the right knee or your back knee anchored. That should create sensation if you're not feeling any. And if you did drop to your forearms, begin to rise up to your tall arms. Slide the left foot center of the mat. Hands are framing your left foot. Half splits when you're ready. Reach the hips back. And just moving into your place, your desired intensity, and let's hold here. Excuse me. And again, you can fold deeper over the leg, and you can rotate the leg as well. Now with our breath, let's begin to flow for a little mobility. On your inhale, come forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, send your hips back, half splits. 2 more. Inhale, forward, runner's lunge. Exhale it back, half splits. Last one. Inhale, forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, reach back, half splits. Inhale, forward, final time. Palms are planted, tuck your right toes. Send your left leg back, 3-legged dog. Once there, open the hip. Maybe a little movement here, maybe not. On your inhale, extend the left leg high. On the exhale, set the left foot down. Downward facing dog. And from here, come forward to a high plank pose. And slowly release all the way to the belly. When you get there, I'd like to come into some gentle back bends. So we're going to start with a baby cobra. Hands under shoulders. Chin is on the mat. Toes are untucked. On your inhale, lift your head, shoulders, chest off the mat. And we're going to hold for 2 or 3 breaths. Palms can stay on the ground. Exhale, set yourself down. Maybe shift the hips from side to side a little bit. And then let's come back for one more of these. Baby cobra once again. About 3 breaths on the hold. Inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest. Now on the second one, you can float the palms off the ground as well. Exhale, set yourself down. Baby locust will be next. So arms come long at your sides, palms down, chin is on the mat. On your inhale, lift just the upper body off the ground. Head, shoulders, chest, and arms. Stay up for another breath or so. Exhale, set yourself down. We'll come back for one more of these. Baby locust once again, palms on the ground, arms at your sides. Inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest, and arms. On this second one, if you want to float the legs, you can as well. Exhale, set yourself down. And we'll come into one more gentle back bend here. Sphinx pose. Palms and forearms to the mat, elbows underneath the shoulders. On your inhale, press into the palms and forearms. Lift your upper body off the ground. Take about 3 breaths here. Now, before you release from the pose, try to keep your spine nice and long as you come down. So as you exhale, pull your torso forward while at the same time releasing down to the mat. Nice work. Once you're on the ground, give the knees a bend and gently windshield wiper the legs. Notice how that kind of frees up those low back muscles a little bit. Before we move forward, I'd like to just give the quadriceps just a moment. So keep your right knee bent, extend your left leg long behind you. Reach back with your right hand, capture the top of your right foot. And then just start to draw your right heel towards your seat. And just notice how that quadricep is beginning to lengthen a little bit. And try to keep the leg bones aligned on the right side. So try to keep the tibia and the fibula aligned with that femur. So don't let the foot wing out to the side. Keep everything aligned, drawing the heel towards your seat. Maybe even for added depth, almost like subtly reach your right knee to the back of the space. And notice how that continues to deepen the stretch. So we'll release the right foot. Let the right leg go long behind you. Now bend the left knee. Reach back and capture the top of the left foot. And draw the heel towards your seat. And just giving it a few breaths. The quadriceps is a group of muscles that we do overlook sometimes in yoga. And for me, this is as good a way as any to strengthen or to lengthen this muscle group. And so slowly let go of the left foot. Let it go long behind you. And now we've spent a lot of time, we've gotten loose. We've stretched really almost every area between our rib cage and the tops of our knees. So now I'd like to capitalize on that flexibility and mobility by doing a little bit of core strengthening. We're going to start with a forearm plank and then a locust to complement. We're going to go through it twice. So bring your palms and forearms to the mat, elbows under the shoulders. You can either bring your hands together, interlace them, or set your palms on the ground. Tuck your toes underneath you. On your inhale, engage your core. Lift your hips, your knees, and your legs off the ground. And try to hold this forearm plank for about 4 breaths. Trying to keep the hips high, about shoulder height, not letting the hips sag. Give it another breath and a half if you can. And on the exhale, set the knees down, untuck the toes, legs and hips come to the ground as well. And let's go right into full locust pose. Chins on the mat, arms at the sides, palms down. On your inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest, and arms up off the ground. Also float the legs if you can. Taking about 3 or 4 breaths. Now on the exhale, set yourself down. Once you're down, just take a moment to windshield wiper the legs. So bend the knees, side to side with the legs. And let's come back for one more set. So let's move into our forearm plank once again. Elbows under shoulders. Palms either on the mat or hands interlaced together. Tuck your toes underneath. On your inhale, engage the core, lift the hips, knees, and legs up off the ground. Tuck in the toes. Take about 4 breaths here. Feel that abdominal lock. Pull your navel towards your spine. Feeling as though the low back is completely protected by that engagement of that cylindrical group of muscles that surrounds our abdomen. Stay with it another moment. With your exhale, set your knees down, untuck the toes, set the legs down, coming down to the belly. Getting right into locust pose, last locust. Arms at the sides, palms down. Lifting the upper body, then lifting the legs as well. Take about 3 or 4 breaths. Exhale, release. Give the legs one more windshield wiper here. Set the legs down and roll right onto your back. One more series of core exercises. Again, alternating between more of a front core exercise and then a back core exercise. We'll be coming into a hollow hold or a half boat. So bring your arms to your sides, palms down. Before you do anything at all, engage your abdominal wall. Use that abdominal engagement to press your low back into the mat. We want to protect the low back at all costs. Once you're in position and you have your abdominal lock in place, lift the legs 6 inches off the ground. Once you're there, lift the upper body off the ground as well. So lift head, shoulders, shoulder blades. Finally, the arms can float too. Take about 3 deep breaths. And try not to tuck your chin. Keep your neck nice and long. And we'll release back to the mat. Bring your knees into your chest momentarily, and then set the feet on the ground right behind your seat. Coming into bridge pose, arms at your sides, palms down. On your inhale, press into your feet. Lift your hips up off the ground. And again, it's for about a count of 4 with your breath. And on the exhale, set yourself down. Give the knees a little windshield wiper here, side to side. And let's come back for one more set of that as well. Finishing up strong here. So extend the legs out in front of you, heels on the mat. Arms at your sides, palms down. Create your abdominal lock. Press the low back into the mat. When you're ready, legs lift 6 inches off the ground. Floating head, shoulders, shoulder blades. Finally joining in with the arms if that's available to you. Take a few more breaths if you can. Try not to tuck your chin. Stay with it. And then release by bringing the knees to the chest. Pausing for a moment here. And then set the feet on the ground right behind your seat. Come into bridge pose. Arms at your sides, palms down. Press into the feet, lift the hips up off the mat. And give this bridge pose about 3 breaths. On the exhale, release it down to the mat. Windshield wiper the knees one final time. And I'd like for us to meet in a reclining butterfly pose. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees butterfly open. And see if you can really relax and ease into this pose. So close your eyes. And if at all during the core work, if you notice your heart rate rise a little bit, see if you can notice it slowing back down here while we very passively take this pose. This is one of my favorite poses just to help slow things down. There's still a stretch going on, but it doesn't really require much effort on our part. Now slowly bring the knees back together. We'll be moving into a hip opener next, which will be a supine pigeon. Right ankle crosses left knee or thigh. Now you can stay just like this if you feel this is a deep enough stretch. Otherwise, you can gather the hands behind your left thigh and start to draw the left leg in towards you. And take about 4 or even 5 breaths here. And while keeping the ankle crossed over the left thigh, set your left foot back on the ground. Keep the ankle crossed. I'd like to take a little bit of a supine twist here. So with the ankle crossed, shift your hips to the right just a touch, and then start to drop the left knee and the right foot to the left, almost as though you're trying to draw the sole of your right foot right into the ground. And what this is it's a supine twist, but with the added benefit of a little bit of an IT band stretch and maybe migrating into the glute and the piriformis too. And slowly come back to the center, uncross your right ankle, set your right foot down, switching over, left ankle over right knee or thigh, either remaining here in the supine pigeon, or for added depth, hands come behind the right thigh. And just kind of gently draw the leg in towards you, slowly ratcheting out tension to reach your place in the pose. And then again, it's 4 or 5 breaths. And exit the pose. We'll land the right foot on the mat. Keep your ankle crossed over the right thigh. Arms to the sides like a capital T. Final supine twist. Shifting hips left subtly. And then drop the right knee and the left foot towards the ground, as though you're trying to guide the sole of your left foot directly into the ground. Now bring the leg back to the center. Uncross your left ankle, set your left foot down. And let's just take a real brief happy baby pose. So with the knees bent, soles of the feet facing the ceiling, reach up and capture the bottoms of the feet with your hands. And this pose can be done either in stillness or with a little movement. You decide what direction you want it to go. This is our last active pose. Very shortly, we'll be shifting into rest. And so begin to release your feet. Bring your knees into your chest. Wrap both arms tightly around your shins. For just a moment, give yourself a squeeze. Take an inhale right here. And on the exhale, let the legs go long out in front. Arms come to rest at your sides, palms up. Settling into this very well-deserved resting pose, Shavasana. And slowly begin to awaken, moving the fingertips and the toes. Nice and easy, stretch the arms towards the back of your space. Maybe a little stretch here, maybe not. Knees start to bend. Bring your heels in close behind your seat. Make your way onto your right side. And once you feel complete, you can keep your eyes closed as you rise to a comfortable and cross-legged seat. Palms are together at your heart. Closing today's practice by sending gratitude to ourselves and to our fellow practitioners. Bowing forward. Namaste.